Hello everyone, it is me, Knight, and I just finished watching the WWE's Survivor Series. In fact, I just finished watching it about, I want to say 5, 6 minutes ago. And for the most part, every match in the card was rather decent to watch in terms of if you didn't know any of the storylines and you just wanted to watch wrestling. I didn't really see many botches. Not anything noticeable. Some things that were funny, mainly the pre-show, but I'll get to the matches. Um, there is a slight problem with most of these matches, not all of them, most of them, and the problem was no one gave a fuck about half of these matches, if not more than that. And the reason no one gave a fuck is because the storyline sucked going in. No one cared about the Divas match, and that's the big one here is the Divas match. Remember a few months ago with the whole Divas Revolution thing, give Divas a chance thing? Yeah, I remember that. Kind of lost its luster, didn't it? No one gives a fuck about it anymore. It's really, really bland. Um, Nothing against the people who are involved, because they wrestled their hearts out. They did a hell of a job. It's just that their storyline is just meh. No one cared. Um, but anyway, most if you were going into matches, all of these matches, the right person won. Outside of the final match. Now I'll get to the final match in a second. Because it's very loosely when I say that the wrong person won, because to be fair, the right person won too. I'll get to my meaning of that much later. So let's start off with the pre-show, where we had a traditional Survivor Series tag 5-man match, 5 versus 5, I should say. And so on Team Heel, because usually there's Team Babyface versus Team Heel. So Team Heel had the likes of, let's see, the Ascension, Stardust. Think who else was in that team? The Miz, and I think one that I don't really care about. I'm trying to think of his name. Going to Team Face was, I believe it was Neville, Dudley's, um, Gold Dust made his epic return, and what was the last person? Because see, there were some memorable things, and then there was less memorable things. And right now, I should go and find out who were the last two people, because just I'm drawing a blank on them. So let's see. It was, where are they? Oh, wow. Okay. Bo Dallas for Team Heel was the fifth member, because why not? And then on Team Babyface, Titus O'Neil. Kind of an odd choice there, but a lot of people were speculating the reason why Titus O'Neil was in it was because originally it was for Cesaro. And there was recent news as of today about Cesaro being injured and being out 4 to 6 months. I think. So that could be the reason why Titus O'Neil was in this match. So the winners was Team Babyface. They knocked out Team Stardust pretty quick, because I'm going to go with Team Stardust versus Team Goldust, because that's pretty much what this match came down to. The first elimination was Victor, um, on Team Heel, and oh, he he got eliminated by a power slam. I'll say this again. He got eliminated by a power slam. You know the thing that Randy Orton does in his comebacks? Thing that Goldust does every now and then. Yeah, a power slam. I'm not saying that isn't a finish because at one time it used to be a finish, a finishing move, but it was a power slam. It hasn't been a finishing move in decades. So yeah, that's that was the shocker of this whole thing because I literally didn't expect a power slam to eliminate a guy. Usually it's a finisher or maybe a signature. But if I'm pretty sure that that Goldust's signature is not a power slam. So that happened. That was the first elimination of the whole match. Other than that, everything was pretty much fine. I missed some parts. Like I didn't see how Connor got eliminated, but I did see like the Miz, Bodhauses, and Stardust getting eliminated. Neville on Team Babyface was eliminated. He was the only one on Team Babyface that was eliminated. I don't know why, because it could have been just as simple as just leave Team Babyface alone and eliminate everybody on Team Heel, because that's what it came down to. Uh, Stardust was the sole survivor on his side before he got eliminated by taking a 3D. That was it. So yeah, that was the pre-show match. It was fun to watch. I think it was a lot more fun because Goldust came back and it shocked everybody. Although I kind of called it as soon as I seen Stardust laying down, smiling and taunting Team Babyface, and I said, "You telling me Goldust is coming back?" And sure enough, Shattered Dreams Productions. So yeah, that was like, well, I know who's winning this. So we move on to the first of the semifinals of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournaments. And it was Roman Reigns versus the United States champion, Alberto Del Rio. Great match. This match should have been the finals, really. It was a fantastic match to watch. They were going back and forth. There was no there was no botched moves whatsoever. It was really good. Um, there was at one point where I believed Alberto might actually win. I knew he wasn't because writers. It was too predictable who was going to win. But at the same time, it was so good that you could make a case that Alberto Del Rio could have won that. Um, so he takes a spear and he loses. Sorry, Del Rio. After a month of you being back, you've suddenly lost in something major. As my cat does, or dog. It's one of the two messing around behind my chair. Um, so yeah, that was a really solid match. I didn't really see any. I didn't see any botches. I think that was it was so good that I just missed them, or they're heavily clouded. It was a good match. 4 to 5 stars, I would give it. Um, this also brings up the next match, which was the other semifinals match: Dean Ambrose versus Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens. And I think everybody knew who was going to win this match because it was so predictable. It was Dean Ambrose, and that was it. It literally no one expected Kevin Owens to win. If the writers of the WWE was smart, they would have him win, so that way it would be a face versus a heel for the final, and it would make total fucking sense. Here's my problem with two baby faces going into the finals of a tournament and battling each other. It's good if it's done on the night of, because it feels like they've earned it. This tournament's been around for at least 2 weeks. It's not feeling like they earned it. They've had time to rest. They have time to do this, so it doesn't feel like an equal battleground. That's the first thing. The second thing is Survivor Series, though had the Deadly Games back in '98, isn't really the one you would want to see this happen. Now, given they had to do this, they didn't really have much of a choice because Seth Rollins got injured and he's gone for at least 6 months. So they had no choice. But they did have a choice. They could have just held a tournament for who's going to be the other number one contender and just had Roman Reigns, who was the number one contender, take him on. And they could have done that just as easily and put more matches on the card instead of what we did get. It kind of they tried to redo the Deadly Games, and the Deadly Games wasn't as good. And I think Deadly Games back in '98 had more matches on the pay per view. I think they had like 4 matches, and it would go to 2 more matches, and there would be the finals, of course. So there was like a total of 7 matches on the card. Why they didn't go that way, I don't know. It made no sense to me. Why they couldn't do uh, Deadly Games 2, and they didn't. This was a prime opportunity to do that. So that was the second match. It was the second semifinal. So we go to the third match of the night, which was Tyler Breeze versus Dolph Ziggler, and it was a very good match. Um, both competitors were very, very good, speedy, very fast with their moves. But Tyler Breeze ends up pulling out in the end. He doesn't win with his heel kick that he usually does. In fact, he wins with the kill switch. Christian's kill switch. Now, not saying that's a bad thing. That's a cool thing. Because I know immediately what they're going to call it again. The Unprettier. Because that was what it was originally called before it became the kill switch. And you know who had it as the Unprettier at the time? Christian. Before he called it the kill switch. So, chances are that's what they're going to call it. They're going to call it the Unprettier. Because that's what originally it was called. And it would make total sense because it's Tyler Breeze, who is playing a character that's all about taking selfies. And by the way, I hate those kind of characters. They're boring as hell. They're used all the goddamn time. Oh well. Yeah, he's making the best of it. And congratulations to Tyler Breeze for winning his first pay-per-view match. And against Dolph Ziggler, who I would say is very credible to take him on, but really, Dolph's not had a very good track record when it comes to pay-per-views anyway. At least not as of late. Oh well. So, overall, it was a good match. So we go to our second traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Team Babyface being Ryback, the Usos, and the Lucha Dragons. They put 2 tag teams with 1 singles competitor to them, which is usually doesn't happen. They took on Team Heel, which was The New Day, Sheamus, and King Barrett. Now, I don't know what happened for the most part. I do know that King Barrett was one of the first eliminations. But I didn't see it. I think I was cooking dinner. Again, this is a match I didn't really care about. And the reason is I know people love the New Day right now. I don't. I feel that they're boring. I feel that they don't interest me enough to follow them. I wish they don't have the titles. It's literally they don't matter to me like they should. And a lot of people love them because they bring out nostalgia and they bring out the trombone and they come up with some cool looking things. And I'm sorry, but that gimmick was no bad from the beginning. It always felt bad. It felt meh. They're making the best out of a bad gimmick. Them putting it over really well, and I got to give them credit for that. But I still don't care about the New Day, especially the way this match made them go out. Now, I will go on to this. King Barrett's gone by this point. You have Sheamus with the New Day, so they have all 3 members of the New Day still alive on Team Heel. On Team Babyface, they only had 3 guys alive, which was Ryback, one of the Usos, and I think Kalisto. I can't remember which Uso it was, so I'm not even gonna guess. Um, and so there's some heat with Sheamus and Big E after eliminating, I think it was the other Uso, and they start arguing or bickering around. Next thing you know, Sheamus tags in Big E, then takes a clothesline out of the ring. Big E gets eliminated from whatever. I think he took a finisher from Ryback, and he got eliminated. And then the New Day, they don't agree with that. They grab Big E and walk to the back. Both Kofi and Xavier Woods grab Big E and walk him to the back and never return, leaving Sheamus, the sole survivor of Team Heel, taking on 3 of Team Babyface. That finish, I don't understand. Sheamus got his ass beat. That was it. That's how Team Heel lost. This wasn't good. It wasn't good at all because of how it went. This is why I don't like the New Day. They don't finish the match proper, and they haven't. Ever. And I mean ever. Why are they over again? Oh, because of a trombone. It isn't the New Day that's over, it's Xavier Woods. Biggie and Kofi could not get over with this gimmick. It's Xavier Woods that's making him get over. And that's it. He's the only one that's doing it. I hear more people pop for Xavier Woods than the other two. So why isn't he just doing the New Day gimmick itself and having Big E and Kofi not? Like maybe doing their own singles things when they were a lot more over there. I don't know. I just I don't see the concept of this gimmick working for very much longer. I'm expecting them to drop the titles at this point, and they're probably not. They're not gonna drop those titles probably till WrestleMania because they're the only decent tag team left. Um, and that's saying a lot. Unless the Usos manage to do it, I don't know. Oh yeah, Usos are back. If you haven't noticed. Um, so yeah, I didn't like that, and there we have the problem is that I don't like the tag team division like I should, especially the New Day. I should be liking these guys, and I just can't. They are a typical heel stable, but they're not a good heel stable. A good heel stable is when Shield first came in. A good heel stable is Evolution. You know, not New Day. New Day is kind of the exact opposite. The only person that's getting him over is Xavier Woods, and that's the end of it. And if you don't agree with me, that's your choice. But you have to understand what I'm seeing. My phone goes off. Um, you have to understand the only reason why you're a fan of it is because Xavier Woods put it over for you with the trombone and the stupid unicorn thing that they do now. They're boring as hell otherwise, and they still are. I haven't seen them do their finisher in ever. I think the last time they did a legitimate finisher and won a match legitimately, I can't think of a single time and outside of them winning the titles at the time. That was the last time is when they won the titles, and I think that was oh July, August. I don't know. It was that long ago. They haven't had a decent defense. Why do you guys care about these guys when they don't even defend right? They make Seth Rollins defending his title better. Like, and he was the one that would just run away. you know, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Oh well, that's enough talking about New Day. I'm tired of New Day. So we're gonna move on. Next match, we have the Divas Championship match. I've already talked about this. This whole Divas Revolution thing, they need to drop it. They need to get a new storyline quick because the Divas Revolution thing isn't working. It hasn't worked. Won't work. Stop trying to make it work. Stop trying to force it to work. It hasn't worked yet. Stop it. Other than that, decent match. Paige going off that heel heat. Oh god, especially last Monday. Going personal levels of heel heat made that heat nuclear. Problem is, this match did not live up to that nuclear heat. Charlotte won. She flat out won. But the match itself deserved more. When you go to nuclear levels of heat, and this is when usually you have two guys taking each other and they go to personal levels, like back in the day when Austin versus McMahon and they had that personal heat back in the Attitude Era. They went above and beyond to make that heat go nuclear, and then on top of it, make the satisfaction of that nuclear heat commence in the pay-per-view. This match deserved that, and it didn't quite get it. I didn't even come close. And if you don't know what this nuclear heat that Paige got, she went to Charlotte's dead brother and made like kind of she cracked almost a dark joke on her with it, like saying like your brother didn't fight all that much either, like you're not, like, oh my god, she just fucking did that, and that was on Reed Flair. Now that was in bad taste. It was really bad taste, but it was goddamn great nuclear heat. If you wanted to get some heat and people interested, it worked. Problem was, it didn't measure up. It just literally couldn't be in this match, and that's more of the problem of two things. One, PG era. If I had out, it was PG era that stops that. Um, and two, this is also the Divas division where you're trying to put this in motion. Um, Not to say that the Divas division can't have this, can't have the hardcore matches at like the Extreme Rules style, but usually the WWE doesn't want that for their divas ever. They frown upon that, and understandably so. But I mean, this was a build up for that. I'm not expecting Ronda Rousey here. I'm just expecting somewhat of she wants freaking revenge for what that was, for all that said, And Charlotte did not quite deliver on that. So yeah, good match otherwise. If it didn't have that heat going for it, it probably would work a lot better. But it just, that nuclear heat kind of holds this match just a tad bit back. So this is one of those matches where if you didn't know what the storyline was, it was a good match. But the fact that you do know the storyline makes it a meh kind of match. And that's the problem. It's the storyline that kills the match. It's not the match itself. The match is really good. So, other than that, we have two more matches to go on the card. We have, of course, the WWE title match, and we have the Undertaker match, because that's the obligatory Undertaker match that they've been doing, because it's the 25th anniversary of Undertaker's debut. So we're gonna go to the Undertaker match because it happened before the WWE title match. So Undertaker and Kane takes on the Wyatt family, two members of the Wyatt family. And by far, it was good. It wasn't as great as it probably could have been, but you have to understand, Undertaker is fucking old. I don't think he can do half the things he used to do anymore. And he does his best outside of that. And then, of course, you got Kane, who is also old and has been for a while, and it's about ready to be retiring soon. Anyway, so we get this match, and you have the whole entire Wyatt family. You don't know who's going to be in it, and so Kane comes out first and just stands there. And all of a sudden, you hear the Undertaker's gong go off, and you see the setup in the back. And Kane does his fire, and it hits the symbols of the Undertaker. And you look up at the Titantron, and you see a giant fucking coffin open. So you don't know why it's there at first. You're thinking Undertaker might come out of it. He doesn't. He actually comes out of the normal entranceway. And then you just see in the coffin images of Undertaker from his beginning to his current form, his evolution of, so to speak, of his character. And it was a really nice entrance. It's probably one of his best entrances you can possibly get. Um, it certainly was the best entrance of the night, but it was also certainly the best entrance I think that he's ever had, even better than his WrestleMania ones. And there are some great WrestleMania ones he's had. Um, so overall, it was a really, really, really nice entrance, and it was deservingly so. I mean, 25 years of the Undertaker, and he started in 1991 at Survivor Series. Um, so it made the most sense. Um, so we go into the match, and before the match even starts, Eric Rowan just runs into the ring and promptly gets his ass beat. Takes a double choke slam, and then he's gone. You don't see him. He evaporated, and he was gone. So now we have three members of the Wyatt family left. So everybody's expecting, okay, Braun Strowman and Bray to be the tag team that go against the Brothers of Destruction, and that's not so. It, in fact, went Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt, leaving Braun Strowman to stay on the ring, outside of the ring. And the match was pretty good, and Braun does get involved by throwing Kane over the announce table and gets involved. Undertaker gets like, "You come after me, bro," and all that stuff. And Braun's like, "You mad?" Stuff like that happens. Eventually, Kane gets back in the ring, tags in his brother after kind of getting Luke off of him. And then I think it was Bray and Luke knock Undertaker out of the ring, only for Taker to land on his feet, turn around, look at Braun, grab him by the neck, and push him towards the Spanish announce table. Kane comes in, knocks out the other two guys, goes out and does the other one, so they double choke slam him through the Spanish announce table. And Braun Strowman's just done for the night. So it was like, that whole face of destruction thing that he had going for him just kind of stopped. You get back in the ring, and Bray and Luke knock down the Undertaker and Kane, so they're laid down flat, and Bray is getting ready to taunt. He's getting ready for Sister Abigail, and I am only imagining that Luke Harper is going to do his finisher. And Bray's crab walk design, that's kind of been a staple. It's very reminiscent of The Exorcist movie. And he just basically, as he's in that, you see Undertaker and Kane just both sit up. And next thing you know is they take each one of them, I think Undertaker grabs Bray, Kane grabs Luke, and they both chokeslam both of them. And then Undertaker does the tombstone on Luke Harper, and 1, 2, 3 victory. And then he has a standing ovation, and he leaves. Um, Overall, it was a decent match. It could have been much better, but they're old, so yeah. Once you say they're old, they kind of are. I mean, Undertaker's over 50 years old. Yeah, I mean, for him to still be wrestling is amazing. And of course, Kane is getting up there in age as well. So this brings us to the WWE title match, which is a tournament final, and you have Dean Ambrose versus Reigns. And this match was good, and you expected it to be good. It was really fantastic. It ended clean, which no one expected, and I mean a lot of people didn't expect that. Um, it was good back and forth. Reigns hit his Superman punch and his spear, but couldn't knock out Ambrose. Ambrose kicks out. He goes in for another spear, only to get, like, I think he gets kicked by Ambrose. He tries again. Ambrose dodges it, and Reigns hits a bad shoulder because he got injured earlier with it from this first match, and then takes the double arm DDT, which is the new Dirty Deeds, and is covered 1-2 kick out. And you think, okay, so this match is going to last a little longer. And it lasts maybe 5 minutes longer before Reigns hits his spear 1-2-3 victory. Reigns is champion. And everybody predicted that. They predicted that because he was probably written to win it against Seth. Unfortunately, this whole match was done in about 10 to 15 minutes, leaving a hell of a lot of time left on the pay-per-view. So they do this celebration. Reigns has his title. He's crying. He's happy. He's crying tears of joy. You really feel for him. He gets a hug from Ambrose. They are gonna celebrate that night. Only for freaking Triple H to come out and want to shake his hand and says, "Hey, put it there. You won. Congratulations." Raise his hand. Reigns spears him. And he's celebrating like, "Yeah, I speared him." And then he takes a bro kick. Sheamus then cashes in, tries to cover, 1-2 kick out. Reigns gets up, dodges the second bro kick, hits the ropes, getting ready for a spear, only to get hit with another bro kick. 1, 2, 3. Sheamus is champion. I have a feeling that they went through the internet and the predictions that the people thought were going to be Dean versus Roman. Roman was probably going to win it, and that he was the one that was going to turn heel. Because every single person that I've watched, outside of a couple of people, believe Roman Reigns was going to turn heel in this match. And the setup, the way they were setting it up, it looked likely. I mean, it didn't look hands down likely that he would. It looked likely in that he might. And it didn't happen. And they put Sheamus over, giving him the title because he cashed in. Money in the Bank is a cool concept given to the right person. And for example, give it to Edge, the first, and he was the first champion. That one, he was the first person to win Money in the Bank and win a championship off of it. And then he took. Then you had Mr. Anderson. I think it was Mr. Anderson at the time, Mr. Kennedy, who won it only to lose the case like a couple weeks later because he was injured, and give it to Edge, and Edge used it to win his second title, um, which was the World Championship, I believe. It's stuff like that. Like, the right person has it makes it that much more interesting to watch. Seth Rollins having it was a good idea. Um, John Cena having it, not so much. CM Punk having it twice and legitimately winning it twice was a good idea. Damien Sandow, however, not so much. You see where I'm going with this? Sheamus is kind of that one person that shouldn't have had it. Especially considering three things. One, his fucking hair. Um, why? The mohawk thing, not good for you. At this point, go bald. I'm sorry, Sheamus. It don't look good. Second, at this point, Sheamus has not been a legitimate threat in the world title picture in years. Um, it didn't make sense given him the Money in the Bank thing, especially when you had a lot of other competitors that made sense when Money in the Bank happened. And then, like, the third reason is tonight. When he came out for his traditional 5-on-5 thing, he kind of made a racist joke on accident. I don't know if that was intended in terms of his writing, but it looked like he was a comedian. He was going to be comical, and no one wanted him champion. I guess that makes a perfect heel for it because there's no other top heel, but at the same time, why tonight? Um, what this does is it makes Roman Reigns like have the title and get even that much closer, and he got as close as he possibly could now because he held it for all of 7 minutes, probably less than that, but he held it for all of 7 minutes. You couldn't even give him a day. In terms of writing, especially with a tournament, there is so much more you can do with a tournament. One, heel turn. You can do that. Two, you can leave it the fuck alone, which is what they should have done. Because what they did was they took what happened I think it was like 2 years ago at SummerSlam with Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. They redid it. Triple H was involved, for fuck's sake. I don't I don't know why they want to keep a heel champion. I mean, I'm kind of glad it isn't on Seth because Seth wasn't the greatest of champions, and that was more writers than him. Um, but Sheamus really has not been booked that well. Him being champion, and by the way, now I guess he's a part of the authority because he was celebrating with Triple H. Why him? I mean, I look back and I think about like the feuds that Sheamus has been in, and the last major feud that I can remember him being in was against Triple H, of all people. Hell, I remember last year at Survivor Series, he was feuding with the Authority before he got injured that prevented him from being at Survivor Series and being replaced by Eric Rowan. And we know what happened to him on his singles babyface career. So, why? I don't get it. I just. Sheamus deserved better. I'm glad he's champion. It's a breath of fresh air compared to Seth, but it's been so long since we had a babyface as champion. And I want to put this in perspective. Brock Lesnar was not a babyface when he was champion. A lot of people get this misconstrued, especially considering that he turned babyface after Mania. And that's truth be told. He was kind of on the edge of turning babyface prior to that, but at the same time, he wasn't babyface. He was a neutral party, but at first he was a heel. He was full blown heel, especially after what happened with him and Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. He was heel. He had nuclear heat, And it didn't. The only reason it went away is because he didn't defend the goddamn championship for 3 months when he had it. And the only reason that he was kind of turning face is because he was taking on Cena. And no one likes Cena. I don't understand why they don't like Cena. Cena's a good worker. He's there on time. He busts his ass. He's been there and hardly ever took a break. The only time he had to is when he was injured. And yet people hate him. I guess just because of gimmicks. Again, gimmicks being the problem here. Um, I hate to say it, but WWE needs to realize that it's about time a face held the title for more than 7 goddamn minutes. We've had a heel champion since SummerSlam of last year. Because technically, Brock Lesnar was a heel. That was his character. He's now a face with the same character. That's because he's gotten so over with the crowd at this point that he's become a face. But he was a heel. He played the heel card. He was a heel. So get that through your head first. He beat Cena, who was a face. And he beat them sound. To the point where there were 16 suplexes involved. And I think a couple F5s. I don't know. I didn't watch that match. Still don't want to watch that match because if that was the way that match went, it was boring as shit. Glorious to probably watch, but boring as shit. But he was a heel. So the next match he had was a heel. And he had 3 months off. I think it was longer than that. I think he had United Champions, Hell in a Cell, where Cena won his match to be number one contender. You have Survivor Series. You have TLC. Yeah, he was off for 3 months before he came back to Rumble. And then he goes into WrestleMania. Royal Rumble match, he was still a heel. Although he was a neutral party at the time. He was still a heel, neutral. He was on the drift in the neutral part at that point. Won that match. He didn't drop the title till WrestleMania 31 to a heel, who was Seth Rollins. And Rollins has had it since now. Since tonight. Tonight is the first title change since WrestleMania. And it's still a heel holding it. Given a babyface has held it for all of 7 minutes. This is 2 years. Almost 2 years. It feels of heels holding the title. I think the only time it hasn't been 2 years is when Daniel Bryan held it and then he had to drop it because of injury. I don't like it when it's like that. It feels like no one good is going to get over. Like, Reigns deserved this title. He's deserved it for quite a while. He's proven that he's earned it. He's paid his dues, and now they're making him wait longer. And the same could be said about Ambrose. Ambrose, though, is not quite ready for that title hold. But if you were going to give it to a heel, if you were, you give it to Roman Reigns and make him heel because he's not over with the crowd. In this match, the match with him and Ambrose really proved it. No one wanted Reigns to be the winner. Even in the match, when they were doing the punch, back and forth punch, everyone booed Romans, everyone cheered Dean's. And that's nothing against Roman, it's just people like Dean Ambrose more. And it's just really, really bad that you don't have don't have a babyface champion for a while, and it feels like that's where it's at. It's feeling kind of like 2003 again. And I mean by that is that Triple H was champion of practically of all of 2003. He hardly ever lost that title. And that was the season of burials. They buried Roman's career again by doing this. They really haven't given him the title that he's earned. Especially after winning it tonight, he should have had no more matches. This is this whole event should have been just faces win everything, because the previous event was kind of the heels kind of getting their thing. They're getting their victories. This was one of those big four events where the faces should win. You know, obviously WrestleMania being the number one, but really, this one was kind of a very lackluster ending to what was overall a fairly decent pay per view to watch. Much better than last year's. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the end of my review. I would give Survivor Series 2015 7 out of 10. Storyline wise, on most of these matches, they don't matter. You shouldn't even care. Don't even care. If you have WWE Network, just watch it. You'll enjoy the matches for what they were. But storyline wise, for most of these, don't no, don't even bother. Um, Sorry if I have a blanket. It's cold. Because it's November. Um, yeah. This was a very good pay per view. Storyline wise, not so good. It ended some of the storylines. I don't know about the Divas thing. The Divas thing probably will still go, but it's more than likely ended the whole Bray Wyatt thing. Which, by the way, they got buried again, but then again, this was also Undertaker's 25th anniversary at the event. I think they're going to let that one slide. I think people would. Um, Other than that, yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm really done with talking about this. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed. For those of you that might be a little upset like me, and I know a few friends that are a little bit more than just upset about Roman Reigns losing the title after 7 minutes of holding it finally. We'll see what happens. Next event is TLC. I'm not expecting high hopes for that. I don't think there will be a decent title match till Royal Rumble. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later. Good night.